We will start with the call to order, or call the meeting to order. Yes, please.
Okay. Commissioner Markham is absent with notice. Commissioner Miller is in the building.
Right here.
Oh, there he is.
Present and accounted for.
Commissioner Taylor.
Here.
Commissioner Smiley.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson is absent with notice. Commissioner Wiper.
I'm here.
Commissioner Smith Charles.
Present. You have quorum? Thank you. Yes, roll call. Thank you. Next is the Pledge of Allegiance. Let us have Commissioner Taylor lead us, please. Stand if you can.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberties and justice for all.
Our next item on the agenda is to approve it, so approval of the minutes, pardon me, which is dated August 6, 2025.
So moved.
Move to approve, moved by Commissioner Taylor, supported by Commissioner Miller. Any corrections or additions? Seeing none, we can do a voice vote, yes. All in favor, one side aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that is unanimous there to approve our minutes. Takes us to the approval of the agenda. Moved by Commissioner Miller, supported by Commissioner Wiper. Thank you. Any changes or any additions to the agenda? Thank you. We can then do a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? The ayes have it, and the agenda is approved. Item 6 on our agenda is the public comment. Do we have anyone here from the public who'd like to address this committee? You do have 3 minutes, and this is one of 2, and we'd like you to keep this public comment to items on the agenda. Anyone? Seeing no one coming to the front, we can go ahead and close the first public comment and go right into communications, of which we have 4. And of those, just for the good and order, because I watched the YouTube yesterday, and I find if you don't say what was in the communications, you might feel like you don't know what we were just talking about. So item 7A was quarterly report, SMART January through March 2025. Communications item 7B, quarterly report, ARP skilled and educated workforce, April 1st, 2022, March 31st, 2025. We also have the monthly report, the new Public Works building, September 2025, and item D, monthly report, Pontiac redevelopment project, September 2025. I do see individuals here available to speak to any of these. Wonderful staff was able to compile some of the key takeaways. So the quarterly SMART report, is there anyone in here from SMART? Okay, so to decrease in fixed route ridership and on-time performance. There's some connector ridership and service reliability improvements. And there's an increase in operating costs this quarter due to a decrease in ridership. The quarterly skill educated workforce, wonderful Jennifer Llewellyn is here. If you have any questions, but it sounds like it's around activities reported in August are ongoing and pretty stable in terms of everything going on. You probably have a project you're gonna be inviting us to. Is there an event coming in November?
Yes, and we'll have a couple of agenda items related to that.
Awesome. All right, and then Public Works building. Those are always exciting to talk about. And then lastly is Oakland Thrive, which.
No. Pontiac buildings.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. New Public Works building, monthly report, and then the Pontiac redevelopment project. Is there anything anyone has on those? We can go ahead and do a receive and file, a motion to do such. Ms. Miller, supported by Taylor. All in voice vote? Roll call. Please roll call, please.
Roll call, you mean prompt?
Oh, I'm sorry. I know.
You have 5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. That motion carries. I was so lost in Parks meeting the other day, because I was like, can you prompt, and there's no prompting, so then I was back to roll call, so I'm rusty. We need more EDI meetings, right? All right, so under item 8, which is our Water Resource Commissioner recommendations, we'll start with a motion to recommend to the board the fiscal year 2026 lake level maintenance assessments. So moved by Commissioner Taylor, supported by Commissioner Smiley. Gentlemen, please come to the front of the table here. Welcome, Ryan and Jeffrey. And do give us your names and your titles for the record.
I'm Jeff Wilson. I'm the Chief Engineer with Oakland County Water Resources over construction support, drain and lake level maintenance.
I am Ryan Washik. I am the lake level engineer responsible for all of the dams that are managed by WRC.
Excellent. Great work you all do. So we have an easement situation going on here, or assessment, excuse me. Please tell us about it.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay, so each year we levy assessments. These are individual parcel assessments. So these are ones that are on the winter taxes, and they're to pay for the operation and maintenance of legal lake level control structures under the jurisdiction of the Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner. And specifically, 24 of them meet the criteria of being $10,000 or more, which is something specifically requiring the commissioner approval. So we're gonna go over some of the individual projects, and Ryan will be presenting on them.
So the majority of our lake level assessments are pretty consistent. We've got a couple that we're highlighting where we have major projects we're doing. Long Lake was high last year. It's high again this year at $75,000 for the district. Now it sounds like a lot of money. Typically that's $300 on the household for this one specifically. So very minor divot to their taxes per se, and the residents are informed of it through typically homeowners associations we have a lot of contact with or calls that we receive in the office. That project is gonna be ongoing for the next couple of years to essentially install some manholes so we're able to maintain and clean this structure that was put in the 70s with no access essentially. Our other major change is Oakland Woodhall Lake. That's gonna be a similar size assessment, similar size to the homeowners, about $300 a household, $75,000. This year we discovered that there was some problems with the second structure that could lead it to fail that need to be corrected immediately, and we're working with an engineer to alleviate that and move forward in getting that fixed this winter. And then the last one is a new lake level that was established a couple years ago. This is our first assessment for Bay, and we're in the process of design for that. To get that structure completely replaced. It's in poor shape. The residents petitioned the Board of Commissioners. You guys seen that petition come through. And we're moving through with design, hopefully next year to do construction and replace that aging structure. So if anyone has any questions on any other lake levels, I will gladly answer them.
Thank you. Just looking around and checking my hand raising feature here. Any reason that a layperson would understand as far as like why these lake levels are rising? I mean, we could open up a elementary school book and have an idea, but I'd love for you to give your assessment as a professional.
Define right, like the assessment costs,
No,
the levels themselves.
the levels themselves.
Our levels have been fairly consistent.
Okay.
We actually have the opposite problem this year. We've had a fairly dry season. We had a pretty wet spring, but then the rest of the season has been pretty dry. I've got water on the Clinton side. We're a little bit over. We keep that up just to maintain the levels of those lakes throughout the summer. On the Huron side, on the other hand, I am low. We have basically no water moving through that entire system because it's been so dry on that side. We have no water to give and move down the system.
Interesting. And I know Water Resource Commissioner is on the Parks Board, so I'm sure there's a lot of chats between the two different entities, but you mentioned Clinton, for example, which is, and Huron and others. Do you coordinate much, or do you anticipate that in the future if Parks or is there collaboration, I guess is the easiest way to say that?
Well, yeah, there's certainly, between the different, between the Parks Group, our group, there's a lot of talk, depending on whether or not something is a legal lake level, that would really change the discussions. For the most part, there are not. But, when we say those, when you talk about those different watersheds, we're talking about chains of lakes that are on those particular watersheds where the one upstream affects the one downstream. And there's a chain of them essentially. So just to clarify that term, that's really what that means.
Okay, thank you.
And I guess in terms of working with parks, we do provide parks with assistance if they have issues with dams. So there was an issue up at Groveland Oaks, for example, with their dam that was identified. We provided assistance to get that fixed. This year, there was an issue at Springfield Oaks with the embankment between Pontiac and their property. We worked with them to get that fixed and assist them. So
Great.
anything dam related, we are open to assisting them with any issues they may have.
Thank you. I appreciate you indulging me a little bit on that. So without further ado, the total amount here looks like a little over $1 million. So that, let me get back to my main screen. We can go ahead, if there's nothing further, and prompt the vote on item 8A, the Water Resources Commissioner fiscal year 26 lake level maintenance assessments.
You have 5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, that motion carries. And we will then jump right into item B, which is a motion is needed to recommend to the Board Water Resources Commissioner fiscal year 2026 maintenance assessments for Chapter 4 drains.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Miller, supported by Commissioner Whitebird. Alrighty, looks like we're swapping out one human for one additional human, and so Mr. Garrett, please do introduce yourself.
I'm Garrett Schaefer. I'm a drain maintenance engineer. I work mostly with our Chapter 4 and Chapter 18 drains, which we'll get into here.
Yes, floor is yours, gentlemen.
All right, thank you. So there's 3 different main categories of drains in this county. You got Chapter 4s, Chapter 18s, and Chapter 20s. Chapter 20s are assessed at large through the individual Chapter 20 drain boards. So in front of you today is Chapter 4s, and then the next item will be Chapter 18s. So with Chapter 4 drains, I like to call them, these are our old ag ditches. All right, so these things go back to the 1800s, early 1900s. They were primarily used for agricultural purposes that currently are being used for essentially maintaining the status quo. They still need to be cleaned out, they still need to be maintained to prevent localized flooding, because now residential development has been built up near them over the last 100 years as we've transitioned to a more suburban county rather than agricultural. But these still require maintenance, but they are still under the Michigan Drain Code, still under the rules that entails. They are paid for by assessment districts. The assessment districts are made up of the properties that drain into them. And then it's assessed down to the individual parcel level based on the size of the parcel and the amount of hard surface that's on that parcel. So these old ag ditch drains, a lot of them are enclosed. I say ditch, but a lot of them are also enclosed pipe networks. They require blockage removal, sediment removal, jetting, cleaning, cleaning of bar screens, cleaning at road crossings. So a lot of ordinary maintenance spread across different drains and drainage districts. On a higher level, they occasionally need to analyze the contributing watersheds that you're making sure that you're properly assessing the right people. A lot of the drainage districts that were established for these have not been updated since the early 1900s. So our office is each year updating some of them based on the contributing watershed, and LIDAR technology allows us to get that really down to a laser level science of where water's going. So once you do that, you then update the boundary. That requires a hearing. So there are lots of mailing communications, lots of different tasks to make sure that you're assessing the right people to pay for this maintenance that's needed. To go along with boundary updates, we've actually been, the last couple of years, doing a lot more survey work on the open channels. Satellite surveying has really brought down the cost of this, and we're able to take a much more proactive approach to making sure that these channels are actually at their legal bottom, I'll say, or the plan for maintenance to get them back to their legal bottom, to minimize any flooding, to make sure that property along the drains is not adversely impacted by a lack of maintenance. Before, that took a lot more naked eye, and residents kind of complaining and saying that they have this. We're being much more proactive now with that. The other thing that's going on with these is the Michigan legislature recently increased the maximum maintenance assessment for ordinary maintenance on these. For a long time, about 15 years, it was capped at $5,000 per mile of drain that you had, and they recently changed it to $10,000. But that $10,000 also has a index now for construction cost increases each year. So each year now we'll be getting an update from the Michigan Association of County Drain Commissioners on what exactly the maintenance limit is. So to go over some of the individual maintenance that we have going on, Garrett's gonna go through some of these and then we'll open it up to questions. Go ahead, Garrett.
Yep, so like Jeff said, we're doing a lot of surveying on these chapter 4 drains, working with some engineering firms around the area that have lots of expertise doing this kind of thing. A lot of the historical documents we have on these drains, sometimes we have a survey from like the 1930s, some kind of description of the drain bottom. Other times we're just working off of like a written route and course outlining where the drain is, what the bottom width is. And so the engineering firms kind of go through all of the documents that we currently have, figure out what the limits of the actual drain are, and then go out, do survey of the drain so we can see how much sediment has built up in there, you know, if there's erosion issues. They do kind of a combined survey and inspection of the drain. So we'll know where like sediment has built up, if there's beaver dams, log jams. So we can kind of take those survey documents and use those to prioritize where we want to do maintenance. So we were around, I think, 1 million or so last year total for these chapter 4 assessments. We're at about 1.75 million this year, just more surveying. Also, along with that surveying, we've identified particular drains that are gonna need future maintenance. And we're in the process of getting as-needed contractors to take on some of these bigger jobs that our office and our maintenance crews can't handle. So last year, we did about 37 miles of survey. This year, we've got like 52 miles. We think we can get through a lot. And these engineers just keep asking me for more and more work, and I'm more than happy to give them what we have. And with that, I'll open it to questions.
Thank you. The page that's titled 2025 Chapter 4 Drains Detailed Summary by Community, it's got a couple columns: at large, property, and then total. Just at large versus property. For example, RCOC, when you get down to their lines, their line items, if I'm not mistaken, is where the dollar amount for under property vanishes. So is that because they're, you know, if you have any insight into that?
Yeah, so the at-large, that means a CVT or a public agency. So in the event of, you know, and the communities are considered at-large. So each drain is apportioned partially to the city, village, or township that it's in, and then to the road agencies based on runoff from the roads, calculated the same way as the parcels. And then the rest is down to the parcels. So what you're seeing in the property, that's considered, that goes to the individual parcels in your district. The at-large is saying that it's a government entity or an agency.
Okay, so for example, City of Novi, Blackwood Drain, the property owner is assessed this dollar amount?
Property owners, so that's,
Owners.
yeah,
Amongst
over,
numerous.
yeah, all the parcels that are in that district, and the Blackwood has, about 1,500 parcels.
Okay, very, very interesting. I will refrain from digging too deep into the weeds. Your surveys from 1930s, where are those housed?
So a lot of that we have in just our online drive. We've got scans of all the historical plans, all the drain books that house the proceedings, establishing the drain, establishing a project, and then any sort of permits that were taken out to like on the drain, if there's work being done that's going across the drain or feeding into it. Anything like that would be in our drive there.
Okay, that's interesting. And then finally, for me, you mentioned hard surface. I'm sorry if it was in, no, I believe it was in this conversation, talk about hard surface. Are you saying that if it's paved, it's more expensive? I mean, it kind of seems like it would be, but please, if you want to.
Yeah, that's correct. So it follows the principle of runoff. So the softer the surface, right? So if it's grass, a lot more gets absorbed into the earth. If it's pavement, a lot more of it runs off. So the way that the assessments are calculated is based on the land area and then the amount of hard surface on it. So, roofs, it's all done through aerial imagery. Roofs, sidewalks, pavements, that's all, a much higher factor runoff. Then you got gravel pavement, that's kind of in the middle. And then you got grass and forest and woodlands that absorbs a lot more water into the ground. And so the assessment on parcels that have less hard surface would be lower because the calculation is that you are preventing what makes this drain necessary in the first part. So that is the correct legal way to assess these and set those assessments.
Love it. Thank you so much. For homeowners and people who are like, I'm tired of this grass, let me just put some pavement over it. There's environmental implications there, and I just want people to be mindful of that. Mr. Wyker, please.
You gave that high overview of adjusting the boundaries, right, within, now we've got better technology. So how are these hearings? Let's, out my way, Lyon, Milford, Wixom, we've got lots of new developments and, lots more impact on those old drains.
Yeah.
So there's folks are getting notice and say, you're now gonna be included, and then it goes out, and what kind of meetings are these? Are there 50 people showing up and saying, what's this I've never heard of, or is
Usually-
it 2 or
usually
3,
there's
or is it?
Usually we get phone calls in advance and we're happy to go out and meet them. That's the big thing with these is that, you have to be willing to meet with people and look at it because, yeah, we're doing this all from computers and satellite surveying and technology and everything. And it's really insulting if you start telling them that their eyes are lying, right?
Yeah.
So we go out and we look at it with them and usually we come to terms. And actually the hearings themselves have been very quiet the last few years because we spend the time to make sure that we actually meet with people at their property and try to see what they're seeing. And sometimes you find things that, there's been a few cases where somebody actually installs some sort of drainage system and the water's actually going that way when we thought it was going this way based on what the surface contours were saying. We take them out of the district then because they've proven that, they've sent their water out and they're not contributing to the drain, so.
And along those lines, so on development where the people do retention ponds, detention ponds, and they do some creative holding on their land that it really bioswales, and so you take that all into consideration and do some reduction or take them out?
It has more to do with the actual watershed itself when we do those boundaries. The actual assessments, we're not quite there yet at the individual parcel level where you can start doing those different calculations, but subdivisions are calculated one way and then acreage parcels are generally another way.
You're not there yet, but you kind of hinted you could, at some point you might be able to do that.
Yeah, that's correct. So right now, with the new stormwater rules that communities in Oakland County have adopted and Collins has. There is a mapping element to this where you actually identify these features and what they're doing and how they're changing the runoff on these different parcels. Right now, the calculations on the drain assessments themselves are more simplified to what's
The district.
right at the satellite level. In terms of like the underground level, how that gets incorporated in the future is still a little up in the air, but that data is starting to get collected more and more at the community level where that can then start to factor in. But it would take proper data before that becomes part of the assessment process, and how that all gets factored.
Thank you.
I'm gonna jump in on that just because I did those stormwater standards. It is something we heavily talked about. And I think they're doing some pilot programs in GWK to look at that. And how those different items are gonna affect those assessments on the community scale, because that is a chapter 20. But getting it down to that 4 level, we never really made it to that point of getting them reductions. They're getting a natural reduction because they are putting those elements in and having less hard space. So let's say you do pavers, that's a different number in our program than having just solid concrete. So they're getting a base reduction from that already.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. Commissioner Miller, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now, could a resident reach out if they're doing something like where it could potentially, like maybe do a special assessment if they're doing something for watershed, and could they reach out and say, hey, I'm doing all this work, would it help my assessment out? Just try to help promote, if we could have our residents promote to do that, right?
Yeah,
So it's actually less on the system.
Absolutely, we're happy to look at any parcel calculation, as those things get done. Generally, the aerial flights are what they're based on, which happen every 2 years or so. So sometimes it's, well, we have to wait for that, but then there's other times that, somebody does something and they want it right away, especially if there were a project. A project is where this would come into play,
Right,
where
yeah.
you have a very large assessment coming, where we're talking hundreds of dollars per parcel, if not thousands. Then we would look at that on an individual basis. We would not wait for any kind of aerial image update or anything like that. We can actually go out and identify that with them and make sure that they're calculated fairly and properly.
Thank you, appreciate
But yeah, on the ordinary maintenance, a lot of times the difference isn't a lot
it.
on that, where it just makes sense to wait for the next imagery upgrade.
That makes sense, thank you.
Great questions. Thank you. I think that covers everything from commissioners. So we can go ahead and prompt the vote on item 8B. Water Resource Commissioner fiscal year 2026 maintenance assessments for chapter 4 drains.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. That motion carries. Now moving away from old ag ditches to item C, which is where I'll take a motion to recommend to the board the Water Resource Commissioner fiscal year 2026 maintenance assessments for chapter 18 drains.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Miller, supported by Commissioner Smiley, and Garrett and Jeff are still with us.
Yes, we are. All right, thank you. So you correctly identified the difference. We moved away from the old ag ditches. In 1956, they updated the Michigan Drain Code with Chapter 18. Chapter 18 allows for the creation of a drain and a drainage district on an individual parcel of land. And what that means is that for subdivisions are built with pipes, they're built with detention basins. Now modern ones are built with different infiltration techniques and newer stormwater infrastructure. It allows you to, it allowed individual developers to dedicate everything in there to a drainage district, and the drainage district get turned over to the drain commissioner, or in our case, the water resource commissioner, upon the completion of construction. So West Bloomfield Township and Oakland Township had written right into an ordinance back in the 60s that all new subdivisions had to be done under these public drainage systems to be managed by our office. And so these fall under the same assessment rules as the Chapter 4 drains. The assessment district is made up of the individual subdivision. So generally, we're not updating those or redoing the calculations. For the most part, it's just everybody's paying the same amount. And then you factor in the road agency, and that's how you do the assessments for those. So these are generally pipe networks rather than open ditches. And ordinary activities are catch basin cleaning, inspection of structures. You've got the detention basins that require inspection and trimming and cutting back brush. You know, they still do have end sections and inlets and grades that need cleaning. But it's much more of an enclosed storm drain system that we're maintaining. And so I'll turn it over to Garrett again for just some of the individual highlights here on what we're doing on these Chapter 18 drains.
So along with the maintenance of the structures and the pipes, I've also been, since I started here, working on looking at the detention basins themselves. Looking at everything coming in and then going out and making sure that that water can get in and it's being held back as it was designed to. So part of that also is doing survey work on the basin itself to make sure that the capacity, the amount of water that can be held in that basin is what it was originally designed for. So I'm working with some of the same engineers on doing survey of the basins, doing inspections, seeing where we need to work on structures, if we need to remove sediment from the basin or build up a part of it where it might have washed out. So a lot of these assessments are for either the survey or we've identified some issue on one of the basins that we're planning to use some of the as-needed contractors to fix. And I'll open it up to questions again.
And I'll just add on that really quickly. We are a regional leader in this program that there's not a lot of good information on how exactly you go about inspecting these in the level of detail that you need. And through this, we're actually developing a lot of framework that is repeatable, that individual subdivisions can use as well to actually determine like what are the problems on your basin, how do you fix it? Because a lot of HOAs are responsible for these things and they have no clue what to do. So they'll call us, what do we do? What do we do? You know, and we have a pretty good tool to help them. There's some costs associated with it. A lot of HOAs you figure out like how do they assess anything and they don't have much of a budget to be looking at this kind of stuff, which was good foresight by West Bloomfield and Oakland Township to just make these all their own entities under the Michigan Drain Code. But it is helpful in the sense that as we're refining this, it's just helping out all Oakland County residents because now we actually have a very good answer on what they need to be looking for and how they can do it. And if they're not willing to pay the cost, we also have some more affordable solutions that maybe the people with the right tools in their garage and a couple of volunteers from the neighborhood can look at some of this stuff and really try to get some engineering grasp on what might be a problem in their detention basin and with their stormwater infrastructure.
Yeah. You said a lot there, Jeff. That was a soundbite too. We are a regional leader. We are a national leader. I mean, okay, so I think that was it for this item. Oh, Commissioner.
I see a couple of them are, is it bigger, like there's a $24,000 one on, there's a couple of real big ones. Does that mean it's a way bigger district or is there some upcoming work? I mean, like, and some are small, but I saw one,
Country Creek in Oakland Township.
yeah.
Yeah, Country Creek is, there's 8 miles of pipe in the ground in that
Okay.
one. So there's a lot of work to be done on that every year. There's hundreds of parcels in that one. So it spreads.
It's reflective of how big it is, right? There's not like an upcoming where we've surveyed and we've got to do a lot of extra maintenance.
They have a lot of basins in that subdivision, a lot of pipes. So a lot of just the ordinary maintenance just adds up to higher figures in Country Creek.
And you're given fair warning if somebody's jumping, if it's not on the district, if it's 10 last year, it's 25 this year. I mean, people usually know it's coming. And in the districts, right?
Yeah, we try to keep this as smooth as possible. Under the Michigan Drain Code, they limit how much you can assess for and how you can assess. So by the nature of them, they kind of jump around a lot, but the catch there is that there's that maximum maintenance limit on it. And when you start exceeding that, then we're required to send out letters. So that's the big thing, is if something gets big. Now, we do weigh it too, like if there's a very small district, and even if something is under the ordinary maintenance amount, but it's a huge increase in their amount, there's some of these that only have 5 parcels in them. So if you assess $5,000 of 5 parcels, that's gonna be a big deal. And so we also weigh that too. We keep track of how many parcels are in all of these and make sure that people are aware of what's coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. It jogged a question for me. The chapter 18 drains, I'm just curious, it looks like the only communities on here are West Bloomfield Township and Oakland Township. Is that because they're, I won't say they're newer communities, but,
No, that's purely because they passed the ordinance.
oh, just because of that?
Back in the 60s and 70s.
No other drain, chapter 18 drains in Oakland County besides in these 2 communities?
That's correct, yeah, because it does take more effort for the developer to go through the process to do it. So they would not voluntarily do it. They will happily put the maintenance off on an HOA.
Yeah.
Because it makes no difference to the developer. Once they're out, they're out. This is looking down the line 20, 30 years when you start having problems. That's where the advantage is on the chapter 18 drain.
Got it. So interesting. Thank you for that. All right, with that, we will go ahead and prompt the vote on item C. AC, thank you.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, that motion carries. And I believe that concludes everything from Water Resource Commissioner. Thank you. Mr. Wiper has something for you.
Well, our next item is purchase of a property in Rochester that has a dam. Could you guys stick around? Or we might,
Sure.
might come out.
Yeah, I was planning on sticking around.
Okay, good, I asked.
Thank you.
I've already pulled up pictures of the dam because I looked at it in 2020.
Awesome. And I don't think he wants to be recognized, but one of our wonderful Rural Commission commissioners has graced us with his presence today. And I did see RCOC a lot in those last couple of drain conversations, so. With that, we are now talking facilities. Item 9A is a recommendation to the board, facilities management purchase agreement for real property in Rochester. Can I get a motion for that? Commissioner Taylor moves, supported by Commissioner Whitebird. Thank you all. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning.
All by yourself?
All by myself. Paul
Okay.
decided to go to a conference in Traverse City this week, so
Oh.
I'm happy for him, but we got this.
Happy to see you. Real property in Rochester. We're not enclosed. That means we're moving along, so.
Moving along, yeah. So this has obviously been in front of you before in closed session, maybe more than once over the last couple of years. This is one of those rare pieces of property in Oakland County that, especially in the conservation community, we've been looking at for a very long time, kind of like Turtle Woods. It's something that's always been kind of on the radar and that we're very interested in. We do have a signed purchase agreement with Letica Corporation for this property. There's, just as a reminder, this is the 128 acres. I think there's a map in your packet on page 158. 128 acres that is immediately north of Bloomer Park and immediately south of the Clinton River Trail. So it's kind of sandwiched between those 2 wonderful recreation resources. Has a beautiful stretch of the Clinton River that runs through it. Regarding the dam that was brought up, I think Paul and I were working together on this memo, and I think there was a little bit of a miscommunication. The dam is actually not on the property that we're acquiring. It's to the south. It's owned by the Yates, the folks that own Yates. They own the dam. But the dam is an important part of this discussion because one of the main reasons that we're interested in this property, other than the recreational opportunities, are the ecological resources that are on that property. And currently there is a punch through of the river that's going around the dam that's has the potential to let sea lamprey kind of get into those upper reaches of the river, which we have been desperately trying to avoid for many years. So we've been working with Great Lakes Fisheries Commission, who actually is donating $300,000 toward our acquisition of this parcel. And then we're gonna work with them next year, and they're gonna fully fund a restoration project of the river on our property, what will be our property. I think it's about a $1.5 million project to fix that issue of the river kind of going around the dam, and so that it'll be fixed in a way that it doesn't keep happening over and over again. So we're really excited to also be able to work with them on that once we acquire the property. But for us, from a recreational standpoint, obviously it's right off the Clinton River Trail, it's just north of Bloomer. We're excited to get people more access to that property. We have no plans for development other than trails and boardwalks back there, maybe some places you could hop off the river if you were in a kayak. But really just letting it be the natural, beautiful piece of property that it is and adding it to our park system. I think potentially as Clinton River Oaks. I don't know if that's been finalized, but that's what we've been tossing around. So the purchase agreement in front of you today is for $1.8 million. That is the exact appraised value. Just so that this body is aware, we started an offer at 1.2 and they countered at 1.5 or 1.8, which we kind of assumed they would do since they had the appraisal in their hands. So we did try to get a deal, but the $300,000 from Great Lakes Fisheries Commission obviously helps tremendously. So our out-of-pocket will be the $1.5 million.
Nice. Questions?
But I mean, in the memo, it says the private dam is located on the property.
It does say that. I didn't realize that until somebody just said it. So
Okay.
yeah, I think that might have been a miscommunication between me and Paul.
So we're not gonna buy a piece of property with a dam on it,
We
it's
are
a lot
not.
of work.
We are not.
Yeah.
But I mean, it does kind of affect the property.
It does affect the property. Yeah, my understanding is they've been good caretakers of the dam over time, but this restoration project is massive and is taking Great Lakes Fisheries Commission stepping in to help correct that.
And can we ask the waterers what they think about the dam, or is that the June?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at it in 2020, it does look like it's been well maintained, there is a decent amount of maintenance for this dam. As long as Yates is committed to keeping it there, you should keep your same ecological considerations for your property. The only concern is private owners, and there is not a lot of funding for dams necessarily. In terms of repair, there's a lot of funding out there to remove these things, so if that bill to repair this thing gets too large, the only advantage you have is if it's identified by the Great Lakes Fisheries Commission as a lamprey barrier, it should stay in place because they're putting funding toward maintaining these things.
That is correct.
I'm guessing that's the first one in the chain then?
It is.
So you've got a very good chance that this thing's gonna remain in place well into the future, because that's a very well-funded organization. I had some conversations with leadership last month when I met for a dam safety conference here. And they're pouring a lot of money into maintaining these lamprey barriers and making sure they stay well into the future. So I think you've got a very solid chance it's gonna stay there.
Thank you.
No worries. I just wanted to clarify, although I have seen this before, the property, the acquisition itself, because there's two wonderful maps. Thank you for the visual aids. I'm all about that. There's one that has words Bloomer and Clinton on it, and then there's the one that doesn't. So just making sure in the yellow.
That one.
Okay, and so the page that you shared with us above that, just what was the rationale with that page? Am I supposed to be picking up something? There is a little yellow circle here.
Yeah, I think again, that was probably just an error in what got uploaded.
Okay.
Yeah, the circle shows the parcel number of the parcel that we're acquiring, but to your point, on the second map, the parcel that's outlined in yellow, that is the parcel.
Okay, excellent. All right, if nothing further, then,
And
yes, sir.
so I mean, we're gonna have a long due diligence period, you're gonna investigate if there was a dam issue, you would have, and we're gonna do phase one.
We do all the
We're gonna
things.
do
Yep,
everything, right?
Yep.
And
yep, we've got the wheels in motion, we're ready to pull the trigger on all those things.
is there a railroad on this property? Does,
Railroad? No.
no railroad is not abutted to it? Okay. I thought I saw something along a railroad right away was part of the legal description.
It might have referenced the Clinton River Trail to the north, which was an old railroad right of way.
Okay. But that could have contamination, railroads.
It could potentially, yeah, we will do a full
Hopefully
phase
not.
one, maybe a phase two if it's required.
All right, and it wouldn't give us buyer's remorse if
What?
it was a railroad through there. We'd be like, oh shucks, oops. Okay, just,
Old railroad and old, you know,
okay.
they didn't have all the rules that they do now.
We can, if all hearts and minds are clear on this, we can go ahead and prompt the vote on the purchase agreement for the real property in Rochester, which is pretty significant moment in time here as we just take stock of what we're getting ready to do.
Can I get a reminder on who the second was for that too?
I think I
Commissioner
was.
Taylor initiated it?
Might have been me.
I thought it was, yeah.
Sure. Okay.
I'll prompt the vote.
No,
Thank you.
thank you.
It wasn't, it is now.
All right.
I think it was.
You have 5 yeas, 0 nays.
Okay, that motion carries. All right, up next, facilities management, recommendation to the board. A motion to purchase, for the purchase agreement for 1600 Scott Lake Road in Waterford Township.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Miller, supported by Commissioner Smiley.
Okay.
That then takes us to Melissa
Thank you
Logan.
Less exciting of an acquisition, this one, but we still think important for the park system. So we have a lot of either adjacent properties to our parks or in holdings within our parks that we keep an eye on, and when they go up for sale, we'd like to look at those opportunities to kind of fill some of the gaps within our parks. So this is a house that's located at 1600 Scott Lake Road. It's just to the south of the main entrance to Waterford Oaks Park, and it's just to the north of that Ernst Greenhouse acquisition, that piece that we acquired, probably 10 years ago now, to add that to the park. That's currently being used as our natural resources kind of staging and maintenance area right next to the house there. So when they were ready to sell, the owner unfortunately passed away earlier this year, and they reached out to us immediately, and because they knew that we would have an interest in that. We had an appraisal done. It appraised at $270,000, which is what Paul thought we should offer, so that's what we offered. They accepted right away. The timing of this is really interesting and good because we are looking at redoing our whole master plan for Waterford Oaks Park and kind of reimagining that park and what it is and what it provides. So that part of that could be shifting the entrance or just changing how we're using that whole front portion of the park. So kind of closing this gap and acquiring that house and wrapping that property into the park system just makes sense at this time to do so.
Well, I've had an opportunity to chew on it. Mr. Wyford?
It passed unanimous at Parks, and it might have give us entrance, or an access.
It could. I mean, there's been a lot of talk over the years about trying to potentially realign that entrance at Waterford Oaks with the light that's there on the corner, so that could play a role there. We're not sure at this point, but
Okay.
regardless, it'll be nice to not have to worry about it.
Right. It's nice when you can pick your own neighbors, right?
It is.
Indeed. Yes, sir.
What happens to the house? Is it used for something or is it just wiped out or?
Yeah, we won't, I mean, we could use it maybe temporarily while we're working on the master plan for the park if we needed to, but the goal would be 99.9%, I can guarantee that we would just remove it and
Oh,
not.
is it a nice house? You
It's
sadly
it's
wipe
a
it
little
out, or-
ranch. It was built in, I think, the early 60s. It's not historic in any way or unique.
Oh, okay.
So we don't really have a use for it.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anything further on this item? Seeing no other hands, we can go ahead and prompt the vote on 9B. Purchase agreement for 1600 Scott Lake Road in Waterford.
Listen,
I accidentally made it go away, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
What does it think I did?
What's your, I don't know, I can come and look at it. What's your vote?
Yes.
You have 5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, that motion
Oh,
carries.
you have to come over, there's nothing.
Thank you,
Oh,
Melissa.
there's nothing
Thank you very
here.
much.
I just wondered if it thinks I said something.
Oh, no.
we do have several.
Next is item 9C, which is the recommendation to the board, Facilities Management Courthouse Jury Assembly ADA Toilet Room Project. And this is a budget amendment. Misty and Jennifer, welcome. I'll take a motion to do so. Ms. Taylor moves, supported by Commissioner Yolanda Smith-Charles. Welcome, ladies. Please introduce yourself and your titles for the record.
Good morning, Misty Rates, Manager of Capital Planning and Design. I'm Jennifer Henson Piesick, Interim Supervisor for Facilities Planning and Engineering.
Great. And do give us the, I was gonna say the down low on the toilet room, but I'll refrain.
So today's project is a planned CIP project. It's to provide accessible toilet rooms within the court complex in the area that serves the jury assembly. Jen is not only interim supervisor, but she's also the project manager on this project. So Jen is here to provide you with additional information. Yes, I get to wear 2 hats on this job, so. Yes, like as Misty mentioned, we are requesting a motion to approve the addition of 2 all-gender ADA accessible toilet rooms in the jury assembly space. Opening this up to questions that you may have.
Yeah, thank you. To two of our team members here took a tour
I
over
heard,
there.
I did hear, yeah.
Oh, it's word is spread, all right.
Yeah, it has. And
No
then,
secrets here.
No, I guess not.
and I could be, I believe is there a diagram of any sort? I might have
We
missed it.
saw it at a
I saw it
pre-meeting,
earlier, but
yeah.
just in terms of the location and we talked about bottlenecks and just people being able to still move through. But certainly important to have over there. And I don't think you have any objections to that.
We just had the tour, we went on a tour, a self-tour, but I don't know if anybody's been in the jury room. It's a big room, we're not gonna lose any seating, right?
Correct.
And right now, all the potential jurors have to go down the hall and use the common bathrooms that the building, that are available for the building, right?
That is correct, yes,
And we even noticed that for handicapped, they have to go down a 150-foot hallway and downstairs.
that is correct,
To
yes,
the-
it is on the ground floor off the
Right.
south lobby and
Right, so they told us that's been a real big problem.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can add, just, was it the director, somebody came out.
Ivy?
Ivy,
Oh,
yes.
Ivy.
And said that they've even had a few accidents, because it was just too far to go for,
Yeah.
For handicapped
Okay.
folks that needed it. And she described where it would be and, it doesn't, like we were just saying, it won't really eat up much of the space, so kind of condense a little coffee break area.
Right.
You all know this, I should be saying stuff. But yeah, it looks like a nice fit. It kind of like this will work out real well because it's adjacent, this will be a wall adjacent to the bathrooms, which would help with plumbing, which did beg the question, we thought it might not be so expensive looking like such a good fit. If you can give any insight as to why it's $270, the same as that house that we just bought.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate, just some insight on the cost thing. Thank you.
Sure. So a lot of the plumbing does need to be routed through the adjacent mechanical space. So there is a toilet room that's close by, but there's a toilet room, a staircase, a mechanical room, and then we're putting those new ones in.
Oh, it's not quite adjacent.
It's not quite as close as we
Sorry.
had hoped it would be, yeah. So we are gonna be utilizing that shaft that goes all the way down to the basement to be able to tie into the sanitary line. So that's kind of probably the bulk of our construction cost is really
Okay.
within the plumbing aspect of it.
Very good, okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
But we are using some of our staff and facilities to do some of the work, right?
We are,
Where we
yes.
can.
Yes, where we can, absolutely. That's kind of our standard that we always approach projects with is to utilize our internal trades as much as we can. In this case, we are utilizing our electrical trades in this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further on this item? I do see our good friend Ed Joss is here, all things facilities. All right, well, we can go ahead and prompt the vote on this to recommend to the board.
You have 5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion carries. And that concludes all Facilities Management Department recommendations, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. All right, moving along, we have item under item 10, Economic Development Department recommendations. First is the recommendation to the board for Economic Development, Workforce Development, Law Enforcement Services Agreement with the City of Novi for 2025 My Career Quest Southeast event. A motion, please. Moved by Commissioner Smiley.
Thank you.
Smiling in the midst of that, and then Commissioner Wiper supports. Welcome, Jennifer. Thank you. This is a interlocal agreement, everyone.
Yes, good morning.
Over to you.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning. We're requesting your approval of a motion to enter into an interlocal agreement with the City of Novi to provide police services for our My Career Quest event, which is taking place on November 18th at the Suburban Collection Showplace in Novi. This is our 5th year. I know many of you have joined us in the past for this really incredible event. This year we are expecting about 8,000 high school students from Oakland, Macomb, Wayne, Washtenaw, Livingston, and Monroe counties. We already have over 100 high schools that are registered to attend and join us. Students will engage with about 225 different occupational exhibits to see, touch, and feel what different jobs feel like and have that hands-on experience. So it's not a job fair, it's a very interactive, hands-on event. So the city of Novi has been very gracious over the last 5 events to provide 2 police officers to ensure the safety of our students and our volunteers and our exhibitors. We do supplement it with security from Suburban Collection Showplace. Last year, we did add a metal detector as well. We've been very lucky, knock on wood, to not have any serious events. We've had a couple of health concerns in the past. Some students pass out or have some blood sugar issues, but having those police there has been really critical. And the City of Novi Police also bring items for an exhibit as well. So it's a win-win for them. They provide some protection for us, but also get to display careers in the public safety sector. So it is a not to exceed amount of $1,500 for the time period of 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. To have 2 police officers at the event.
Thank you, Jennifer. Commissioner Whitebird.
I think as a supplement, I think you've had Secret Service or FBI, I mean, they
Yes.
having booths in career paths, Marines and
Correct.
National Guard and.
Yeah, last
Okay, so
year
you-
the
so you
the
do have
Secret
extra
Service
people.
was new,
Yeah.
FBI was a recent addition as well, so we enjoy having the public sector careers featured as well as the private sector careers.
Yes, absolutely.
And heavy equipment operators are,
Yes.
they're definitely there.
We're always there.
Oh, yeah.
And a gracious sponsor as well, so thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna ask all sponsors, but I'll wait, I think, to the next item. So nonetheless, 2 officers, Commissioner.
I didn't know, finish, I just have a,
Yeah, no, I was just wrapping up.
oh,
Whatever you needed to share.
so, and this is like a hypothetical right now. So in the state budget, they cut out a lot of the career tech stuff. Will that affect this next year if it's not if there's no money in the budget? Like, I don't know how much money the state gives to my Career Quest.
So workforce development on our Michigan Work side, all of our programs were zeroed out in the House budget.
Right.
That includes Going Pro Talent Fund, our barrier removal funding, and our the proposed apprenticeship dollars. The governor proposed $19 million for registered apprenticeship. So we have a significant campaign going on now because it would be detrimental to the Michigan work system. You didn't ask this, but I'm gonna add it. We're
Absolutely.
facing the same challenge at the federal level. The House budget zeroed out our youth program, which we receive about $2.5 million for each year. Some of that is for the staff for this event. So our team is concerned at the federal level and the state level of what it looks like for workforce development right now. So none of the dollars go specifically toward the cost of this event. We secure sponsorships for this event, but my time, my staff's time here at the county, and then the staff at the 6 Oakland County Michigan Works offices are all funded with those federal and state dollars. And it would be difficult, we wouldn't have the staffing capacity to execute events like this.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Miller. That was very sobering.
That's just the facts. Not saying it's gonna happen, but this
Yeah.
is the realities we're dealing with, right?
I appreciate that.
Highlight.
Low light. Well, with that, we enthusiastically will prompt the vote on this item.
Five yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, motion carries. And then we can go right on into item 10B, which is a recommendation to the board, economic development, workforce development, establishment of comprehensive event participant agreement for government entities for 2025 My Career Quest Southeast event. It's a motion. Thank you, moved by Mr. Miller, supported by Commissioner Smiley, interlocal. And over to you, Jennifer.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This requests your approval of a governmental agreement, the boilerplate of that agreement. We are required to enter into an agreement with each one of our exhibitors at this event to pass along the requirements from the Suburban Collection Showplace and all of the safety and security and liability. So we have an agreement with our private corporations, but because it's an interlocal agreement, requires your approval of the boilerplate. We do have community college colleges, universities, cities, villages, and townships that participate in this event regularly each year. So this is an agreement that we would enter into with those organizations. It has been reviewed and approved by Corporation Council, and I do want to thank them for their support and assistance in making sure that we're adequately protected in our agreements with our organizations.
For sure. How do you advertise this event to get such an amazing amount of participation?
So on the student side, we have great partnerships with our intermediate school districts across the region. So we start with them and then ask them to pass it along to the school districts. But over the course of the 5 years, we've also built out a pretty significant distribution list of the schools directly. We also have been using our Oakland AD Career and Education navigators that are housed in the high schools to help move it forward within their districts. And then, of course, this is put on, we're the lead on it, but it's a partnership with the 5 Michigan Works agencies in Southeast Michigan. And so my counterparts in those areas also work closely with their ISDs and their local school districts to encourage them to register as well. On the business and employer side, we have a business services team that works regularly with businesses. We just have a lot of really great, incredible partners. At the beginning, it was a lot of phone calls. People didn't know what this event was, and I was just asking them to trust me and give it a try. And now we've built up some great momentum over the last 5 years, and companies love it. They love participating, they love giving back, they love inspiring that next generation of workers.
Thank you. Last question for me is the evidence, everyone talks about evidence-based learning. Have we been able to capture any exit interviews, maybe after folks have come a few times, like what is the fruit on the tree that you've seen so far?
Yeah, we survey the students, we survey the teachers and counselors and chaperones, we survey the volunteers, and we survey the exhibitors every year. So we have some incredible data. My favorite is the student survey, frankly. But I mean, everyone loves it, but the student survey, we average, I would say between 70 and 80% of the students say that they learned about a career they didn't know about before, and it would shape their decision after high school. So we do not collect any individual participant data on the students to protect confidentiality, but we give them a QR code and ask them to respond. So someone asked, have you surveyed them 5 years later? We wouldn't be able to do that, but if we inspire, I feel like if we inspire one kid one day to be something they didn't know about before, that's a win.
Absolutely, I love it. Thank you so much. Well, with that, sir, please, Mr. Smiley.
Madam Chair. Just a little bit more about who comes to this. You said you got 100 high schools signed up for this year. It's still 2 months away. Will that number increase? How many have we had in the past?
We actually have more students registered now than we have slots for. So we're, I think, close. I didn't look at the data. We've been at a conference the last few days, but I think we were creeping up on 10,000, but we do get a drop off. So right now, the schools will say, I'm gonna bring 100 students, but then by the time we get there, it's like 30. So there's a little bit of a drop off. We have 3 time slots, 8:15 to 10:15 is the first group of students, the second group is 10:15 to 12:15, and the third group is 12:15 to 2:15. All the schools want the 10:15 to 12:15 spot because of the transportation challenges. And so we have a comprehensive map where we've mapped out where each school is, and we give that middle slot to those that have to come the furthest. And so we will lose some schools, unfortunately, as well when we tell them that they have to take the 8:15 or the 12:15 spot. So we're fine on students. We are still recruiting for exhibitors and sponsors. So there's 4 quadrants: advanced manufacturing, health sciences, construction, and technology. And in each one of those, we have about 20 to 35 exhibits that are in there, and the students get to engage with those. So we're still looking for exhibitors and encourage folks to contact us if they're interested.
So is registration only,
Yes.
through the high schools?
Correct. Yep, not open to the public.
Okay, gotcha, yeah. I assume it's mostly seniors? High school
Actually, we
seniors?
leave it up to the discretion of the schools. Some schools prefer to bring their freshmen and sophomores so that by their junior and senior year, they already have a better idea of what they wanna do.
Makes sense.
Some will target CTE students, some will target students that are juniors and seniors that are really uncertain. We have a few schools that bring their whole freshman class. Romeo High School and Fraser High School have brought their whole freshman class the last few years.
All right, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll make sure everyone gets a VIP invitation to the event.
Oh,
as well.
please, yes,
course.
thank you.
Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To real quick to add to Commissioner Smiley's question, so being in the trades, one thing we try to do is we try to get down to the lower educational level, just for the fact that, like ninth grade, even junior high, just to help them make that decision, so it's not their last year and they're getting hit by a lot of things, get that
Oh, yeah,
interest
that
early
makes
on,
sense, yeah.
right? So that's good, and sometimes it's the parents that make the decision, so they bring it back to their parents, like, hey, I saw this, and they, we push them, we try to, we think that their skill is, right? So you try to get at that, like ninth, we even like lower, even elementary school, like
Oh,
what are they
wow,
interested,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
'Cause that gets the works moving, right? They're not out, some people aren't going to college all the time, so that's why
Oh, yeah.
it's that level. But that's a great question.
Oh, thanks.
And my comment is Jennifer and her team do a great job
Yeah.
in partnering with the Suburban Collection Showplace, because I think that they bend over backwards for Jennifer, because everything is, because what she does, they trust her, that the event, how it's ran, it's amazing. If you haven't gone, you have to go,
Yeah.
just at least once.
That's a great piece of feedback there. You mentioned sponsors, that you're still open to having some sponsors. Can you share that with the board?
Yes.
And then next year, if there's a way, super in advance, to engage the board members on sponsors as well. Cause I think there's community partners that would love to to help, and then there's a good chance that we'll need more help anyway. So do utilize us if you can. All right, without any further ado, I don't see any more hands. We can go ahead and prompt the vote on item 10B.
You have 5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Five yeas, 0 nays, and that motion carries. So we will look out for more information on my career quest for 2025. Thank you so much. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Last on our regular agenda is item 10C, which is a motion to recommend to the board economic development interlocal agreement with SIMCOG for materials management planning education campaign. It's an interlocal agreement moved by Commissioner Miller, supported by Commissioner Weipert. You hear SIMCOG, you think Gwen, and Gwen's not here with us.
Was that the?
But good morning, Kristen. I had some coffee this morning. It came quick. It's like, Kristen. And then, of course, Whitney, both of you, welcome. Do introduce yourselves, though, with titles for the record.
Thank you, Commissioners, for the opportunity to speak on this agenda item. I'm Kristen Wilping with Oakland County in the Economic Development Department.
And I'm Whitney Callio, also in the Economic Development Department.
Yep, and before you today, we have an interlocal agreement with SUNCOG for our materials management plan. It's an educational campaign for elected officials, which we realize is desperately needed at this time. And I'll just, as a reminder, our materials management plan is a mandate from the state that will replace our solid waste plan. So we're in our discovery phase at this point. I know that we brought several items before you previously related to the plan. So I'll turn it over to Whitney, but please just know this interlocal agreement has been reviewed by Corporation Council, and we've also discussed it with our Materials Management Planning Committee in the past. So Whitney.
So throughout this process thus far, we've been working through SUMCOG with all of the other SUMCOG counties, which we found really beneficial. Just this is really a new process, new plan. So it's been very beneficial to share ideas and questions and documents. So we'd just like to continue that. At the end of our planning process, when we have our draft plan going out, we will have to have 67% approval from each of the local units of government within the county. So we feel that it's very important that those municipal leaders know what this is. They're not just at the end, we say, hey, can you approve this please, where it might affect, things that we're trying to do.
in the region or we've left out things that maybe they think are important. So we'd really like to just engage the local leaders and the community as we're going along in this. So this is a campaign that will provide one pager. They're also going to hold some webinars, hopefully at the spring General Assembly, have a breakout session about this, and then also do some videos that are just educational videos. We think it's great to do it at the regional level. We use a lot of the same facilities throughout the region. It's not by county boundary, so we think it will be a good campaign. Again, it's been really useful thus far, and Oakland County's contribution to this campaign is $12,982. So that's where this is, and we'd entertain any questions you might have.
Thank you. I was remiss, of course, Gwen, but Commissioner Wiper, Commissioner Miller, synonymous with SimCog too. And there's others at the table who serve, so I would be remiss. I didn't want to get beat up in the locker room for not shouting out all my colleagues. However, I think Commissioner Wiper had a comment or question.
So I mean, SEMCOG's perfect for this, right? So state law changed and counties had the chance to opt in, opt out. Each county opted to do their own, and now this regional collaboration will be perfect to me, so. And we gotta get the buy-in from 2/3 of all the communities. This is the way to do it, so.
And could we also it doesn't have to be printed, it could be digital, but we would like to have some of that too, because while maybe single-family homes don't deal too much in planning of what to do with their materials, I think it still could be a value add as far as like what not to do. And so I don't see any more indication of any hands, so I will go ahead and prompt the vote.
You have 5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, that motion carries. Ladies, thank you for your time today. Commissioners, note that everything on our agenda today was recommendations to the board, so we are not adding anything to finance agenda today. So I think that's a win.
Yes, it is. Thank you all.
Yeah, Ms. Miller.
I just want to give a shout out to my man Rick Bruce, who represents the electricals.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah,
Appreciate
absolutely.
it. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I mean, we're right at public comment. Did you want to just give a couple quick words?
Best looking guy in Oakland County, that's all I got to say.
I'm a friend of Williams, so that's all. That's the only comment that I have.
And you're again with?
The IBEW.
Oh, okay. I see IBEW on the gentleman's lapel over here.
Yes, we also have Justin Steenberg here as well.
Nice.
IBEW.
Thank you for being here. This is the committee for you all.
Thank you.
Well, do I have anyone here for public comment? Other than the public comment we've kind of had already? Seeing none, then is there anything else to come before this committee? Seeing none, I will go ahead and adjourn. Thank you all.
All right.